Hi, today I'm making food for a party. I'm cooking dinner, street corn chicken bowls, a really easy 3-ingredient appetizer, and a dessert. Welcome, I'm Amy. If you've been here a while, you'll know that I took quite a long break from posting, but I missed sharing recipes with you. I'm excited to be back, and I will say I did make mistakes while I was filming this video. I definitely forgot to film the end result for the dinner portion. You can see the appetizer and the dessert, but I forgot to finish showing you the dinner once it was served. But I am sorry, I'll do better in the future, and I hope you can kind of get the gist of these recipes. They're all delicious recipes. And let's rewind back a few days where I can show you the prep that I did the day before the party and the cooking that I did the day of the party so that everyone could have like hot, fresh food. Hi, Dad. If you're watching, these are the recipes I made for your birthday party, and let's get cooking. First, I'm getting started with the cheesecake. So this is actually my grandma's recipe, and it's my dad's favorite dessert, I believe. And so I went ahead and made it. So it's a graham cracker crust, which I baked in the oven, and then it's like a no-bake cheesecake topping. So I went ahead, put that on top. I did it first because the crust needs to cool before I add the topping, and then I need to refrigerate the whole thing overnight before it's served. So we love this dessert. It's light. It's much lighter than a normal baked cheesecake, but delicious. As I'm getting ready for this party, I'm going to be making the first recipe, which is street corn topping. Let's go ahead and chop up the cilantro. I'm going to take off the larger stems and just leave the smaller ones will be just fine. I don't like the texture of the longer, harder stems though. Prep the cilantro, that's the only thing I have to cut. The rest I just kind of can add, and then I'll taste it and see what I think. But I'm gonna take off the larger stems. The little stems are okay, but I don't like the texture of the longer, like thicker stems. I chose the menu for this party because I can prep a ton of things ahead, which makes it really nice when the day of the party you're doing last minute cleaning and the cooking of the actual food. And I also chose the menu because I only made a few things, but it makes a full, filling, tasty meal. So for this corn topping, first the fire roasted corn goes in. You could use any kind of corn you like. I'm using frozen fire roasted corn. I think it adds a really nice flavor. And next goes in mayo and yogurt. I am doubling this recipe, and I'm actually using more like equal parts mayo to yogurt, whereas the recipe calls for a lot more yogurt. But I just kind of prefer the flavor of mayo and yogurt at more like equal parts. But I'm also adding in some garlic. It's roasted garlic, a low taste seasoning. I got mine from Trader Joe's. I'm sure you could get it somewhere else, or you can make your own probably. I'm also adding in Parmesan. The recipe calls for cotija cheese, but I just don't prefer it. So Parmesan still gives you that kind of cheesy, salty flavor, and I think it works really well. And some limes. I'm juicing 2 whole limes to put in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in that cilantro. I love fresh cilantro, but of course if you don't like it, because I know some people don't, just leave it out. I bet green onions would be good in here, something like that. But I'm going to go ahead, give it a really good mix. I do taste it a couple times and add some more seasoning, more garlic, more low taste seasoning, and a little more mayo. I just want it to be a little bit more creamy. I almost forgot the honey. I'm gonna go ahead and add that now. Let's stir it up and then taste it. It's not that pleasant to eat the frozen corn, but I want to be able to taste it so I don't have to taste it a lot. I don't have to taste it tomorrow, which is party day. You can definitely change this recipe around. I think adding caramelized onions would add that sweet onion flavor or make it more spicy if you like that. That was really good. I'm going to cover it up, put it in the fridge, and then I have just 2 more things to do today. Party's tomorrow. I'm going to make the seasoning for the chicken. It's like a mix of different spices. And I'm also gonna go ahead and chop up the pistachios for a fun appetizer. I'm gonna do the pistachios first. This is the only part of the appetizer I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna actually put it together the next day. Since it's only 3 ingredients, the only chopping I had to do were these pistachios. I was really iffy when I first heard of this recipe, but it's honestly delicious, and for only 3 ingredients, it's so easy and quick and pretty impressive in my opinion. Now moving on to the last thing I did on prep day, the day before the party, I'm going to make the seasoning for the chicken. I thought, why not make it ahead? It's less to do the next day. So I'm just doing salt, pepper, paprika. Unfortunately, I ran out of paprika, but I think it can be kind of overpowering anyway, so I didn't mind too much. But it's also cumin, chili powder, and garlic powder. I did half roasted garlic powder and the other half just regular garlic powder. I love adding roasted garlic powder when I'm not going to cook something, but I actually think they both bring different flavors to the table. So that's it. I'm going to mix it up, and then the next day I'll just add olive oil and we'll put this on the chicken. It's the next day, party day. It's a couple hours before the party. I didn't want to make this the night before because I thought the nuts might get kind of soft and soggy in the fridge, and I just didn't want that. So I made it the day of the party. But I thought a couple hours in the fridge would be okay, so I just did it a little ahead of time. So I'm just spreading out the Boursin cheese and adding the pistachios on top, and then I'll add some hot honey. I love hot honey. It's probably one of my favorite things to add to food. I think it just makes it so good, especially eggs. But anyway, that's it. 3 ingredients. Can't get easier. I'm so impressed by this recipe. Next time, I will leave a spot, like a corner, without the pistachios because my sister doesn't like pistachios and I forgot about that. So maybe something for you to keep in mind as well. I started the chicken about 3 hours before I actually wanted to cook it. So I just cut the chicken breast up with kitchen scissors. I did about 4.5 pounds of chicken because there's going to be 11 people. Went ahead and added in the seasoning. I started mixing it with my hands, but I really hate when the seasoning gets underneath my nails. So I switched to a spoon, and that was a lot easier and it worked really well. I'm just going to go ahead and transfer this to the bowl, and then I'll mix it up so that the olive oil will coat it and hopefully tenderize the chicken a little bit. This saran wrap method worked really well. I can mix it, season it on my counter, and then just easily clean it up. I did also wash the counter as well. But I'm going to go ahead and store it in the fridge for a few hours until I'm ready to cook it up. Right after finishing with that chicken, I went ahead and set things up to cook later. So I set up an induction burner. I got the pan on the stove. I went ahead and rinsed the rice and put that in the Instant Pot. And this was about an hour before people were going to get there. So I used chicken broth and rice, equal parts. So I did 3 cups of each, put it in the Instant Pot, and then about a half hour before I wanted dinner served, I went ahead, started the Instant Pot. I cooked it for 3 minutes and then did a natural release for 10 minutes. I think this is a great method for rice. It works really well. This was jasmine rice. Once the rice was cooked, I added butter. I add about a tablespoon of butter per cup of dry rice, if that makes sense. So now I'm getting the appetizers ready, just that super simple dip, and then I just put out cheese for those who didn't feel like having the dip. I did go ahead and add a little bit of extra hot honey, and I served it with crackers and a spoon. And now finally, I'm cooking the chicken. So everything else is ready. The chicken, I'm just putting it in a pan. I put a little bit of olive oil down, put the pieces of chicken in. I have those 2 pans going. And by the time I get all the chicken in and wash my hands, I basically am ready to flip it. It only takes a few minutes per side. And then I always temperature checked the chicken before I took it out. I checked always like a piece in the middle and a piece on each side just to make sure that everything was cooked no matter what side of the pan it was on. This meal was so delicious, and I'm so happy to be sharing this with you. The recipes will be in the description, and thanks so much for watching. See you next time.